Hi, I'm Don, and this is The Hobbyist Geek. And today we are continuing issue 24 of our Ecto-1 build. And we have stage 88 right here. And it looks like more detail for the door we've been working on. So let's crack it open, let's see what we got. All right, here are the parts we get with this issue. We have gear 3, gear 4, window lever, interior door handle, left rear door inner skirting. We've got the left rear door catch, the switch cover, and the left rear door lock, along with a whole crap ton of screws. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the interior door handle here. We're just gonna fit it right there. Now it is keyed. If you take a look, there's a little tab. There's a little slot on it right there. So it should only go in one way. And it should slide in nicely. There we go. And we use an EP screw on the back to hold it in place. All right, look at that. All right, next up, we're gonna attach the window lever here. And that's gonna go right in the center here, just like that. And on this side, we're gonna use gear 3. Now, gears 3 and 4 look almost exactly the same. If you look really closely, it's really kind of hard to see. Gear 3 has a flat edge. This is a keyed gear. That is the one that we're gonna wanna use to fit on the end of this, which is also keyed. So we shove this in, and we will use keyed gear, and the lip, there's a little tiny lip on that, that's gonna be facing up. And we're gonna use a KM screw to hold it in place. All right, and with that in place, we can take gear 4 here, and we will fit it right in between. Match it up with those gears, just like that. And this will take a UP screw. All right, look at that. Ay, that is really hard to turn. I am not sure why. Well, let me check my screws and see what's going on. All right, I think we got it. The problem ended up being one of the spokes on gear 4 here was not properly molded. It was a little too long, it was squared off. And I think that's metal, but I also don't have the proper tools for fixing it. I was successfully able to shave it down just a bit so that it now turns. It's not exactly the smoothest turning, but it does turn. So we got it working. Woohoo! All right, next up, we're gonna be taking this and attaching it to this. Now it's important to note that if you look at the window here, one side is shorter than the other. The short side goes towards the front of this. So when it's in the car, this will be the front. The short end goes on that front. Line up the slot with the hole here, and we're gonna use a UP screw to hold it in place. All right, look at that. All right, next up, we're gonna be taking this entire assembly here. We're gonna put it on the door. Now there's a little slot there. The window will have to slide into that slot on both sides. So try to line that up as best you can and get it in there. Whew, that is less than fun. There we go. And with it in place, you can line up the door. Okay. go. And we're going to use 4 screws to hold it in place. We're going to have IP screws for these top 2 holes and DM screws for the bottom 2. All right, and just for good measure, I went ahead and rolled the window up, so it's looking really nice. All right, next up we're going to apply the trim, and both of these pieces are identical, so it doesn't really matter which goes where. It does look like, yeah, if you look at one end, there's a little bit of a shorter gap there than there is on the other, and it looks like the longer side is going towards the front of the door. These are friction held, so we just push them in and leave them in place. All right, look at that. Next up, we're gonna take the door lock here and we're gonna shove that in place. Again, just friction held. It'll go right here underneath the handle on the front, on the outside, I should say. It is keyed, so it'll only go in one way. And there we go, another piece of detail in. All right, next up, we're gonna take another one of these door switches. This one is marked with a V, and that's going to slide into the frame right here. Basically, the cables here have to be facing down, and it will slide in like this, and should allow for the switch to flip in and out through that slot right there. You can bring these cables up like this, and go through this little slot here. And we take the switch cover here and we will place that over top just like this. Yeah, just like that. There's a little panel on the back of this that's going to face towards the rear of the car. Try and hold everything in place. And we're going to use 2 DM screws to hold this cover plate right there. All right, how fun is that? All right, next up, we're gonna take the door catch here, and that's just gonna slide in like that. And 1 more DM screw to hold that in place. All right, look at that. Now next up, we're actually going to be taking the door and we're going to be placing it on the frame here, and the hinge is going to go into these 2 holes over here. But based on my experience with the first door, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the paint off of these 2 posts, or at least as much of it as I can, to help it fit a little better. All right, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens when you pack all your tools away and can't find the proper tool for the job. But I think I've got enough to make it fit, so we're gonna give it a shot. And again, it's gonna go into these 2 posts here, and we're gonna use the UM screws from the other side to hold it in place. All right, and now it's all attached and should be working well. All right, and there you go. The stage is complete, and wow, what a stage that was. Made a little more difficult because Eagle Moss doesn't seem to know how to push out some quality products sometimes, but we did get it, and it does work. As you can see, door opens and closes just fine, and it doesn't really interfere with the first one. So we are actually looking quite nice here. I'm actually quite happy with it. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.